In a very fluid situation this afternoon as we have been following this fire here in Charleston since that call came in at 3:13. And just to give you a little bit of perspective about what's going on, this is not far from our studios here in Charleston, Mark, and we were able to smell this fire before we were able to see this fire. These flames are intense. The wind is continuing to cause problems at a very old apartment building on the boulevard in the city of Charleston. Crews are working tirelessly. The great news tonight, what we can tell you is that 35 of the 37 apartments that are available inside the Regal apartment building on Canal Boulevard that were occupied, everybody is accounted for tonight. It is amazing news as we have watched this unfold now for more than 2 hours. We're approaching 2.5 hours at this point. Every time it appears that these fire crews, Mark, who have been working so incredibly hard to get this under control, seem to have an edge, this fire just won't quit.
Well, they're not just fighting the flames, they're fighting the wind, and we'll get some perspective on that from our meteorologist shortly. This has been a very nerve-wracking afternoon for me because I have a close personal friend that lives in that apartment building, and I've been texting her and calling her with no response, Facebook Messenger, you name it. I want to give some perspective to our viewers outstate. This is not just a Charleston story. This is the biggest story going on in the state right now. This is just blocks from the state capitol. Again, how many alarms are we up to? 5 or 6 alarm fires, a massive fire in downtown Charleston, the capital city, and so we're going to bring you some perspective of it and spend a good bit of this statewide newscast covering this fire. You know, when you think about just the proximity to the state capitol here, Mark, many of these apartment buildings along the boulevard and close to the West Virginia state capitol are a bit older, and they have greater occupancy during the legislative session. Many people stay in these apartment buildings. I'm not sure if that's the case here at the Regal Apartments, but we do know that when the legislative session is underway, as it is right now, there are more people. The East End grows a bit. Yeah, I've known many people that have lived in this apartment building over the years. This is my 8th session of the legislature, and you get interns, you get employees, people that are working part-time work, and they come down here. So we'll probably get some feedback out of the Capitol shortly on that. We want to go to Tonight Live reporter Lane Ball. He is on the scene. He's ready to join us with the very latest. Lane?
Right now we're seeing a lot of smoke. We do have some fire that's kind of coming up in the front side of this building. Check this out right here. Fortunately, everyone was out of the building, but they're still fighting this. We've got a lot of black smoke, and people from several blocks away have been saying it's just been hard to breathe just with all this smoke, and the wind is just pushing it on down Canal Boulevard. Now, as you can see, fire crews still fighting the flames. We've got them from all angles around here, and we're going to be hopefully talking with some residents. Going to look for some residents to talk to who may have been inside this apartment building. I'll have that later tonight. But for now, reporting live in Charleston, I'm Lane Ball for Tonight Live.
And we have a number of photographers, our 13 News WOWK-TV photographers on the scene there, giving us different perspectives, different angles, and we will. This is a new image that we're just seeing into the newsroom right now. This has been an all-hands-on-deck response since this started around 3 o'clock this afternoon. They've been attacking it from the ground and from the air. What you're seeing right now, the initial images that we got into the newsroom are just what you're seeing behind us right here. That smoke billowing out of some of the vents that are in the building. I know that's not the technical term there, but we were told by Charleston Fire Department Captain David Hodges that there's a bit of an attic that they're dealing with. They have a little bit of space between that top roof, the roof, and the apartments that are on the 4th floor there, Mark. And if there's not any, I'm not an architect or anything, but I've covered a lot of fires in my life. If there's not a firewall in certain parts of that apartment, if it's a wide open attic, so to speak, and there's nothing there to stop it, the flames and the smoke and everything just goes right through and it spreads like wildfire. And I suspect that's the case here because this has just consumed the building. Of course, this is commonly known as a bucket truck in firefighting parlance, and it enables them to get up at a straight angle view into the windows. Now, we've heard that everybody's out and everybody's okay, but you're looking from the ground up at a building, and when you're at this level, you can see inside, even through some of the smoke, and find out if there's anybody in there or see the pattern and path of the fire as well. So this is a very important tool that most major fire departments have these days. It's very important. As I mentioned, all hands on deck right now. The mayor, Amy Schuler Goodwin, the West Virginia's capital city, rushed to the scene. We were able to catch up with her. Here's a little bit of our conversation.
They searched every nook and cranny but this is a really tough situation. Obviously, you can tell by the structure itself and the damage that's being done to the building. The roof is collapsing. It's structurally unsound. So we've got a lot of people who are going to be out of their homes for a while.
We should mention, too, there's fire hydrants all along the boulevard in Ruffner Street, which is the intersecting street there. But if they have another source of water, if they want to, they can lay hoses right into the Kanawha River and tap that as a water source. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing it. They also have a fire boat if they can. We don't see it out there, but I don't know what the range of it is. But this is an all-hands-on-deck event here in the city of Charleston. This is a true emergency.
Spencer will be able to give us some perspective here in a little bit, but you just heard the wind gusts there, and the wind has changed directions a couple of times while they've been working to fight this fire that started around 3 o'clock this afternoon. The building right next to the Regal Apartments is the YWCA building. I talked with somebody who is very familiar with that organization, and they are all out of the building, and that's good news. So the wonderful thing that we have to tell you about tonight as we join you here during our 5:30 statewide broadcast is that everybody is accounted for, everyone is safe, and Mark, we're starting to see some also very heartwarming images of firefighters that were helping a dog that was inside the building. So we'll see that humanity just about 2 or 3 doors down, not far, within the same 1400 block, I apologize, but within the same 1400 block there. Is the Living Word Church, and that is where the Living Word Christian Center, and that is where the Red Cross is setting up shop to help. And I know, Mark, you talked with Erica Manny, who's the executive director, and she said that they're on the scene and they are able to assist. A lot of people are going to need a lot of things tonight. And
our reporter Lane Ball is remaining at the scene. He has an interview. Lane, go ahead.
Fire bad in the ceiling, up in the roof. I mean, that's where it started. And the brick is balling out, so nobody can live in this building no more.
Thank you so much. We may be going live. Would you be willing to...
All right, so you just heard some of that conversation. Hopefully Lane is going to be able to bring that gentleman back, and we certainly are thinking of him and all of the other people. Hopefully our crew in the booth can get in touch with Lane so we can hear a little bit more from that gentleman as he describes what he saw. I'm not sure if he's somebody who lived there, but you just think about the intense heat that's coming from those flames, how hard these firefighters are working right now as they battle a really old apartment building, a very old roof on top of that building, which is giving them a lot of trouble. They haven't stopped now for about 2.5 hours. This is something that we haven't seen in the city at this intensity in a long, long time. There was just a fire yesterday, Mark, in the city of Charleston where about a dozen people were displaced. 2 people were treated. 1 had to go to the hospital for smoke inhalation. In the city of Huntington, we know that there was a fatal fire at an apartment building. Earlier this week in Martinsburg, a fatal fire was reported. So it's that time of year when things are cold and people are doing what they can to stay warm. On this particular day, you have to assume that wasn't the case because it's warm out today. We're dealing with a lot of wind. We don't know what caused this fire, but that really doesn't matter right now. What matters is the fact that everyone is safe and that our thoughts and prayers are with these crews as they do such amazing work. Yeah, the remarkable thing here that we've touched on with the high winds. I mean, flames can literally leap. We see that in wildfires and brush fires. They could leap through the air or on an ember and land somewhere else. And I think it's just remarkable that right now, no other adjoining buildings in that neighborhood have had embers fall on the roofs and started another fire. So I know we're going to be talking to our chief meteorologist, Spencer Atkins, in a moment, who will touch on some of those very things. Hopefully we can go to Spencer right now to give some perspective on this wind, because we were watching as those flames seemed to really, as that roof collapsed. I'm assuming that is what we saw at that moment, Spencer.
It's been an interesting thing as we've been watching this. So for our viewers around the state, just to let you know, again, so what you're watching here is the progress of a firefight. All right, and let me get over here and click a couple of quick things to make sure. If we can put weather 1 behind me, guys, instead of 2, that'll help. So this is a fire that they're just trying to make sure that it doesn't spread, and the wind is not helping them right now, not helping them at all whatsoever. And in terms of what we see the wind gusts jumping up to, it's coming up to about 30 miles per hour. I believe, I'm a little confused in my room here, guys. Somebody talk to me. Do we have 2 or 1 here? I need 1. Okay, so I wanted to bring up the point that the wind is trying to push the embers down to another building, which is literally 10, 15 feet away, and they've done a great job. And they brought more hoses in, but the problem is the fire was on the roof, and now it's down into the 4th floor, and it's continuing down to the 3rd floor, and there's just more for the fire to consume. So that is a problem. This rain is not really going to be a factor for our firefighters out there, and in just a minute, we'll get back and we'll check out some of this stuff. We'll send it back to the desk.
And to Spencer's point, as we've seen like in massive wildfires, sometimes in California, where the embers spread to houses, we see whole neighborhoods decimated. I don't want to put too fine of a point on this. This is just remarkable, again, that it has not spread to other buildings down there, because they're pretty tight quarters.
We have a crew on the scene right now. Tonight Live reporter Lane Ball joins us with some perspective from someone who's been on the scene. Lane, what can you tell us?
Well, we're seeing a lot of smoke. As you can see right behind me, there's a lot of fire right now. This is just what we've been seeing go on. And I actually have here with me, this is Martin Peterson, and he's a resident of the building. Now, Martin, you weren't in the building, but you did have a dog in the building, right?
Yes, the fire department saved him. He was the last one out because they wouldn't let me go in. I come from Dunbar. Nobody called me and told me the place was on fire. The manager, the maintenance, or nothing. It was kind of shame that you come home to another fire. I had one in Dunbar 2 years ago, and it's a shame I have to go through all this again.
I know this is a devastating event that you have to go through. So talk to me just a little bit about your reaction to kind of how everything's going on right now.
My reaction? I feel hurt. My heart's exploded, like it's leaking blood somewhere else in my body. And it's just, I hate to see people lose their place when they're just trying to get on their feet. I mean, I've been getting on my feet all my life. I don't mind getting on it again, but this is ridiculous. You know, when nobody helps you, you got to help yourself and get the respect. Nobody gives this respect in this town no more. All they do is think about the richer and the richer, not the poor.
All right, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you talking with me. I'm really sorry for your loss, and we'll have more on this fire, more continuous coverage on this later tonight. But for now, reporting live in Charleston, I'm Lane Ball for Tonight Live.
It's just gut-wrenching to hear interviews like that. My heart goes out to that man and the other folks. As I mentioned earlier, I have a good friend who lives in the building, and unfortunately she lost her job and has been unemployed for a number of months. And so, you know, you think of someone like that and all their earthly belongings. She doesn't own a car, for example. She gets around town riding a bicycle, and she probably, my guess is the bicycle's gone. You know, if they got out of the building, it's probably destroyed. And it's just, that guy put it in perspective. I mean, you're glad that nobody was hurt. You're glad that there's been no fatalities in this, but the loss of property for people who might not necessarily have a lot to begin with is devastating. That's why it's great to see our friend Erica Manny there from the Red Cross and her crews helping people out. They're going to get clothing. They're going to find shelter for these folks. They always do. I'm sure the Salvation Army is going to get involved. And as we've seen through the massive floods here in West Virginia from almost 7 years ago now, West Virginians come out to help other West Virginians, and we're going to see a massive outpouring to help these folks beginning already.
Yeah, no question that that's going to happen tonight, but certainly overwhelming for that gentleman who said that the firefighters were able to save his dog, and that is a bright spot in a dark afternoon, a dark evening for us. You're watching this real time with our crews who are right there for several hours as they bring you these live pictures. So bear with us as we work with them in the elements. No doubt it's smoky there. No doubt that those flames are intense, even from their vantage point, as they're working to bring the images to you. And these firefighters now, 2.5 hours, they have not stopped. And you know that they would have liked to have had this out several hours ago, several minutes ago, but they have done an amazing job making sure that this fire doesn't spread to any other building.
Let me try to put some more perspective in this for our viewers outstate, the folks in Wheeling and Clarksburg and the Eastern Panhandle and Southern Coalfields that are watching us right now. We broadcast every night on 6 television stations during this show. And if you've been here, and a lot of people from outstate come to the capital city for a lot of things, to go to the Capitol, go to concerts and sporting events at the Coliseum. This is very close to the Capitol. Now, from our studios here, right smack in the middle of downtown, it usually takes me 6-7 minutes by car to get to the Capitol. This building, this apartment complex, is perhaps 4 blocks, no better than a half a mile from the Capitol, and it's right along the Kanawha River. In fact, the facing is on the Kanawha River. That's where the address is, and the intersects at Ruffner Street, very famous name here in West Virginia. And it's a stone's throw from the Capitol. I could literally be there from our studio probably in 4 minutes to help out with the fire coverage. So it's quite a massive fire. Again, this has been going on since 3:15 this afternoon, so we're now in at 2.5 hours. They are no closer to having it put out, and I think the crews will be there all night because you have the problem of smoldering and the potential to spread to other buildings. But again, that has not happened. Not one other building has caught fire, which is amazing. It
is tight quarters along Kanawha Boulevard in the blocks that are behind. And as we talked about, just the humanity here, that gentleman's dog being helped. There are people who are watching their lives go up in smoke right now. Who are going to need help in the days and weeks to come. We know the Red Cross is setting up shop at a church not far away from all of this to make sure people have just the basics tonight. First of all, a roof over their head, the medications they might need, food to eat, and peace of mind. We know how important that is. Peace of mind. We're going to take a quick break. Our coverage of this massive fire on the Kanawha Boulevard in downtown Charleston, in West Virginia's capital city. Pardon me, along the boulevard there between Ruffner and Bradford will continue when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Our coverage of a massive fire on the boulevard, Kanawha Boulevard in West Virginia's capital city continues tonight at the Regal apartment complex.
Our reporter tonight, live reporter Lane Ball, is there, and he, I understand, has Mayor Goodwin with him. Lane?
That's right. I'm here with Mayor Goodwin, and we're talking about just this overall devastation of this fire. Talk to me just a little bit about, you've been talking with some residents at the church. Tell me what they've been telling you.
Well, most of them, like this entire community, are glad that they're out and they're safe because this fire has obviously been devastating. The building is a total loss, and it's going to have to come down. They're thankful that they're out, but they're scared, like most folks who have been through a fire. So they're worried about things that you and I would worry about. Where am I going to sleep tonight? What about my medicine? So we're working with the Red Cross. They arrived on scene about 30 minutes ago, and we're doing individual assessments with each one of the residents to make sure they have what they need, not only to get through tonight, but the week and the months ahead, because this is displacement for a lot of folks.
Can you talk to me just a little bit about, the effort from the fire departments? We see they're still working hours and hours.
Amazing. This is, rarely do people get to see like this, them work in action. I fortunately or unfortunately have for many years now. They're amazing. They're extremely skilled. These are the best guys and girls in the state. I'm sorry, they just are. They're incredible at what they do. But when they came in here, they had one mission: everyone out, everyone safe. And that's what they did. They're amazing at what they do. Watching them work, I'm just proud to be a part of their team.
Definitely a heartbreaking situation with everyone displaced. Thank you so much, Mayor Amy Goodwin, and we'll continue to have more coverage of this later on into the day. I'll be here. I'll be giving you live coverage on this. So from now, reporting live in Charleston, I'm Lane Ball for Tonight Live.
We are working to talk to some more of the people who live inside that building. I know you just during the commercial break were talking to a friend of yours, or leaving a message for a friend of yours. So many people are going to need help tonight.
Yeah, he lives there, and I'm trying to get him to come over and talk to Lane as well. Right now, a good perspective on this fire is meteorologists, because wind is a factor, rain could be a factor, the weather conditions, as we know from covering big fires, Spencer, sometimes fires can create their own climate, can't they?
Yeah, they absolutely can, because you're dealing with the heat that gets generated here, and the smoke. That is such a problem. And we've been watching the fire. It was on the roof. Now it's here on the 4th floor, and it's starting to work down the 3rd floor. They're just going to work to contain this. The wind did jump up there. We've had some very strong wind gusts, and this is a different view. So here's your state capitol. If you'll note, the light is on top right there. And then again, you can see the smoke rising, and it's going this direction. So it's going back up to the north. It's also spreading to the east. So it did come for a while back into the eastern, from the east to the west into downtown, and now it's spreading back toward the Capitol again and up directionally toward I-64, 77 and the airport. So smoke, air quality is a problem here. Again, there's a little different view from another camera, but you can see that plume continues to just kind of inundate a portion